Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Through the Lens with Civil Engineers, where we have a one-to-one conversations with professional yet experienced civil engineers. Today with us we have Vijay Rajan, who is currently a senior civil engineer at CBRE India, was a engineer at Facilities and Building Solutions Private Limited, was also a site engineer at Protect UAE, and also in Vijay Shanti Builders. So thank you so much for joining us.
Sure, my pleasure.
Yeah. Before starting, would you like to give a quick introduction about yourself, like something about yourself, or add up to the list, just a brief introduction?
Yeah, so I am a civil engineer with about 8 years of experience. My expertise mainly involves in the field of Maiwan high-rise residential buildings and industrial as well as commercial buildings. So that is my major area of expertise. Apart from that, during the initial stages of my career, I was into Primavera planning, and right now I am into property management. So if we could summarize it, I'd say that I pretty much explored different fields while the 8 years that I am working. So I'd say kind of like a jack of all trades. So I pretty much know everything about all the certain aspects of civil engineering.
Okay, so like 8 years, it's like a huge duration. So my first question would be, why civil engineering in particular? Like if you see at the current scenario, IT engineering as at its peak. So was it like civil engineering a family thing, or was it a personal preference, or just life happened? What was it?
To be honest, I actually didn't want to become an engineer itself.
So that's like quite life happened, I guess it is.
Yeah, I mean, back when I was about to join college, I didn't really have any options. You know, back then you didn't have YouTube or Facebook, or it wasn't really easy to gather information as it is right now. So, you know, as far as my family was concerned, it was either a doctor or an engineer. And I wasn't really interested in becoming a doctor. So my only option was to become an engineer. So in engineering, I kind of like civil engineering because it is one of the fields where you can actually visualize and see what you are building, what you are creating. So I was naturally acclaimed, inclined to select civil engineering, and that is the reason I selected civil. And after that, I've actually been enjoying it. You know, there are a few complaints, of course, every job does, but you know, it is really satisfying to actually look at a building that you've been constructing, and you know, it's kind of satisfying to actually see that.
Okay, yeah, that's great. So, like talking about the current scenario, like I've heard like internships play a very crucial role in the civil engineering field itself, like in your initial years. So, when you go back to your college days, would you like what do you say, compare it from the current field? What do you think? Like, what are the differences or changes which were good or bad or something like that, like the college particularly?
Well, the major difference I feel is that back when I was in college, I wasn't really informed about the different aspects of civil engineering after I complete my degree. Because when I was studying, the only thing that I knew about civil engineering was that we come out and we get a job and we construct buildings. But nowadays there are so many different aspects. You can get into design. There is structural design. You have architecture. You have Tekla designers, and there are just so many fields that you can get into even after studying civil engineering. These things I wasn't really aware of when I was studying. And regarding the internships, I actually did do one internship, but basically it just taught me about getting up in the morning, going to work, and coming back. I didn't really learn much during that internship. But nowadays I feel that it is different because in a couple of my sites that I have worked with, students do come along. They do actually ask a lot of questions, and they do actually want to know, want to learn. So that is actually a really good thing that I see right now.
Okay, that's great. So coming back to the budding engineers, like the budding civil engineers, what are the things, like the practical things you think the civil engineers from them initially should do to be like a well reputed or established engineer?
Well, I'd say they should get to know their basics, right? Because there are different datas that they need to know. You know, they need to know them by heart. For example, the unit weight of cement or concrete or steel, or the available sizes of rods that are available in the market. So these are really basic things that aren't really given much importance in college, because in college we are actually taught to solve the issues or solve the problems that we are presented, rather than why do it. So after you actually complete your college, I feel that it's important that you should know all the basic data, because it's going to come with you throughout your career. So nothing wrong in knowing that. Apart from that, just have an open mind. Just for the first few years, it's going to be really difficult, because studying in college and coming out working in a site is going to be so much different. So just have an open mind and it should be really easy.
Okay, so like, would you like to have like a kind of advice or from your past mistakes? Not like particularly mistakes. It's just like just to aware or alert the engineers, like the current civil engineers who are studying. There would be like tips or
Yeah.
tricks, something like
So
that.
Yeah, so when I joined in my first job as a site engineer, at that time I'm not a very patient person. So that I actually made a few mistakes. Actually, I made a lot of mistakes when I first joined the site. And my seniors, I'm actually very grateful to them. They actually taught me very patiently about how to do certain things, and how to solve issues that might might or have happened at the site. So I'd say it's very easy. You should just think it through, because civil engineering, as far as the site supervision is concerned, it's actually very easy. You just need to think through the logic behind each and every activity that is going on. And if you have doubts, usually there are method statements, or statement of procedures, or so much of data will be available at site for each and every single activity, detailing how you should do it and when you should do it, right from the start till the end. So I'd say before getting into the site, you should sit and read all these things, get to know them better, and then if you experience that in the site, you'll be in a much better position to understand that.
Like, so the theoretical part is like very important while implementing it, and you should be thorough
Yes,
with it.
because usually it's going to be very boring. Myself included, I wasn't really, a very studious student. So, whenever some theory class is going to be there, I wasn't really paying attention. But I didn't know the importance of that when I was in college. But it really is important. The theory is important.
That's like a really advisable, like insightful thing. And also talking about the colleges, would you like to give like any kind of advice or like some of the things which should be added in the like the curriculum? It would be like any like some co-curricular activities or like some new way or like implementing new tactics or something like that. You think there would be some.
Um, I'd say if I want to implement a co-curricular activity, it would be a lot of physical work, because being in the site, it's going to be really a lot of hard work. Let me just explain this with a small example, because there was a project where I was working, and I think it had like 21 floors. And during construction, there aren't any working lifts that are available, to take you up. So you actually have to climb 20 floors of stairs every single day. So that's going to take a lot of physical endurance. So I'd say, you should, I mean, it is a good thing. You'll be physically fit. But apart from that, I'd say that would be an added advantage.
Uh, and like I personally wanted to know this answer that what is the ratio of the female civil engineers currently? Like, what is the scenario? Like, although I know the ratio is not that up to the mark compared with the equality, even if I'll interviewing a lot of engineers, the ratio is like not that much. So, like, wanted to know from a male point of view. So, what is the ratio?
Um, at site, I actually rarely see any civil engineers, but during office, I was actually working as a primer or planner as well. So in civil engineering, if you are going towards design or any sort of an office job wherein you sit behind a computer, let it be design or a quantity surveyor, or a CAD designer, draftsman, whatever it is, usually those kinds of fields involves a lot of women. I mean, a lot as in, I'd say around 60 to 40%. 60% of them are usually men, 40 of them are women. But in the site, it's usually very less. If there are 100 people in a site, there's usually just one or two women there working. I mean, I do understand that because it is physically hard and all these things. But nowadays, women are actually coming forward, and it's actually a really good thing to see. It's encouraging. Women don't really shy away from any physical activity nowadays, right? So it's actually a very good thing.
Okay, so like on the desk job, usually we see more of the female engineers, and on the site, it's usually less. Maybe like there would be reasons which you think we should come, overcome or something, or it's just like a stereotype thinking still prevailing.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you
I'm
properly.
asking like, what is the reason why with the sites where usually the like physical aspect or like usually they're not permitted or something like that.
No, I mean, I don't think the physical aspect is a reason. It's just the general attitude towards civil engineering when women think about it. It's just that it's been passed on for generations, not just civil engineering. If you think about it, any occupation has been male dominant in at one point of time, and gradually it has changed. Let it be IT or any other field, for example. So I'd say civil is actually starting to evolve. So maybe in a couple of years, maybe 5 or 7 years, I feel that a lot more of women will be into civil engineering.
Yeah, that's great, because like even while interviewing there were only hardly 2 or 3 women. So yeah, I actually had this person. I wanted to know from a male point of view. Okay, so like ending us with the last question. It's not a question. It's just like, would you take us through your like your career, like path? Walk us through your path, like from the day you actually chose civil engineering till now. Like, what are the ups and downs and all? Just like in a small and briefly.
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, I didn't really want to choose engineering, but I had to, and but I did choose civil engineering on my own. So throughout college, it was I didn't really concentrate on studies. It was hard, and somehow I cleared it by God's grace, I guess. And so after that, that is when it really starts, because no one was there to actually tell me what I should study or where I should go or how civil engineering is different from other fields. You know, it was basically I had to start from scratch. So I'd say to anyone who wants to become a civil engineer, you should think about it. You needn't decide about anything before you complete college, but at least you should give it a thought and think about what you might want to do. In that way, at least after you finish college, you know where you should go. At least you'll have a direction to head to. So after I finished college, I joined this company called Sine Wave Electromechanical. So it's basically a planning and scheduling company. I worked as a Primavera planner. So I basically used to schedule their projects, which were happening in Qatar and UAE. So I worked there for, I'd say, around 1.5 years. And at one point of time, I really got bored of the office job. So I'm a very active person. I keep walking around. I keep doing stuff. So I kind of got bored. So that is when I decided to get into the site, and that's when I joined Vijay Shanti Builders. So Vijay Shanti Builders is actually a local builder company in Chennai, here in Tamil Nadu, and I believe I worked there for around 2 years, and I did various projects for them. We did commercial projects, we did individual residential villas, and also some renovation projects as well. After that, I went to UAE. So there I worked with industrial and commercial projects. There I actually got to know the actual scope of civil engineering, because before that, previously I hadn't worked in any very big projects. But there I actually got to work in very huge projects, financially as well as area wise and the technology involved wise. So I got to learn a lot of new things there. But unfortunately, I had to come back to India, and here I got into facilities and building solutions, which is in Bangalore. And that is, I'd say, that is one of the best companies to work in, because I believe I was there for 4.5 years, and I learned a lot, and I actually evolved as a civil engineer from that company. So I'd say everyone requires a company of that sort, where they get to learn and as well as contribute to the company as well. So there, I believe I was there for like 4.5 years, and after that, oh, by the way, that is where I actually learned Maiwan shuttering. So Maiwan shuttering is basically in layman's terms, It's just the building is entirely almost 99% consisted of RCC concrete, rather than the conventional method where we cast beams and columns and then close the open spaces with brick walls or block work. This is actually 100%. I mean 99%. It is RCC. So it's actually a very innovative, interesting technology, and I believe that that is going to be the future of residential high-rise apartments, because it has so many advantages. So anyone who's listening, you might want to Google that. It will be really interesting. So after that, right now I am in CBRE as a senior engineer, and here I take care of property management. So yeah, here I am in this site called a DLF. So we have construction going on, we have regular maintenance going on. Here I start from cost analysis. We prepare BOQs for different various works that are going to be conducted. We take site measurements. We have quality and quantity audits as well, and all those technical and paperwork actually happens here. So yeah, that is still now. So I hope I have a better future. Let's see.
Yeah, sure, definitely. And again, I would like thank you so much for joining us, and we hope
Thank you.
luck for your future.